Are you secretly an arrogant, jerky asshole? You need to know the difference between arrogance or confidence, or else you will never achieve true confidence in your life. So listen up. Why do you need to know that? Why do you need to know whether you're arrogant or you're an arrogant fuck, or whether you're confident? If you don't know what arrogance is, then when you're going to try to develop confidence, it's not really going to be true confidence based on high self-esteem. It's going to be sort of like overcompensating confidence, overcompensating, sort of proving yourself type of confidence, which is not really confidence. We would more call this arrogance. Before you point a finger at anybody, just yet, I want you to point a finger at yourself and see in yourself how you could be an arrogant asshole. So where does that come from? Feeling the feeling of arrogance, where does that come from? As I said, it really comes from a feeling of inferiority. It comes from an overcompensation to something. Usually that happens, let's say, it could be depending on your upbringing, whether your parents raised you in a way that made you become a narcissist. Of course, narcissism is a spectrum, so we're all narcissistic to some extent, but there's certain people that are just higher than others. Superiority complex, you can look it up. It's the sort of grandiose blowing up of your ego, of your self-image, as if you were better than others. So this is really the root of arrogance. It's thinking you're better than other people, better than everyone around you, right? That you're always right. That what you say is always relevant. It's always the great thing, right? And there's a touch of condescension with arrogant people where they look at other people and they all secretly feel that they're inferior to them. So sometimes people become arrogant actually so that as a gateway to become confident. And they think that arrogance is confidence while it's not. I have a story of mine. I had a friend that, he was the nicest guy ever, actually a people pleaser, like way too nice. And actually, if you look at my Shocking Truth About Seduction, my very first episode, you will see him. So if you want to look into my older videos, it's an old friend of mine and I'm no longer friends with that person, but I'm kind of glad I documented that. You can look it up. So he's like the nicest, most nice guy of people you'll ever meet. And then, I brought it to him and other people told him too, dude, you're being way too nice right now. This is borderline unhealthy. People pleaser, people would walk all over him and stuff like that. And even girls, he tried to date certain girls and then he'd do all those favors for those girls and then basically be a provider. And then he'd wonder why it wouldn't work out, right? So then I told him, dude, you're gonna assert yourself a bit more. You're gonna say what you think. You're gonna be a bit more direct. And then instead of building that healthy self-esteem, he went the arrogance route. He became very arrogant. When people gave him advice, he'd be like, no man, you're fucking wrong. And he turned very rude on people. And arrogance is not the way to confidence. It's sort of going the opposite way. It's even worse than being a nice guy, in my opinion. At least when you're nice, at least you're trying to benefit other people. When you're arrogant, it's like you're not even helping other people. You're not even helping yourself. So in my opinion, arrogance is even a step back from becoming truly confident, high self-esteem. But of course, this is up to debate, we could have a debate on that. But so what's the difference between confidence and arrogance? It's in how it looks and how it feels. There are certain overlapping things, so we'll address the overlapping things. But first of all, let's talk about confidence. The way you walk when you're confident is a lot more gracious, with purpose. You know where you're going, and it's with a sort of calm joy to it. People who are very confident and have high self-esteem, they're not uptight and confrontational really much. They don't need to prove themselves. They don't need to show other people that they're superior. Truly confident people, they listen to other people when they speak. They make eye contact with them. They value everyone's input in a conversation, right? They respect people. And they do that because they don't feel the need to prove to them that they're superior, because they already know that they're valuable people with high value, right? Value to offer the world. They know that on a deep level. Therefore, they don't need to prove themselves that they have that value. There's this sense of humility in true confidence where you're willing to admit your mistakes. You're willing to admit your weaknesses. You know what? Yeah, okay, I kind of messed up there. I'm really sorry about that, but I'm working on it. When you're arrogant, it's similar in how it looks, but there's sort of this 10-20% thing that's just a little bit off. about that person, right? So they'll still walk with purpose, they'll still walk with seeming confidence, but there'll just be something off about it, that it kind of like with this chin up attitude, like, those bullies that talk to you like, hey man, hey, how's it going? And they like kind of like this defiant look, sort of like I wanna bully you type of thing, look at two people before a fight, they just kind of like, like they flaunt that confidence, but it's not real confidence. It's sort of like confrontational, you have to overcompensate type of confidence, right? So it's sort of this confrontational attitude, and instead of looking at you attentively and listening to you, arrogant people, they'll look at you, but they kind of look past you, right? So they look at you, but they're kind of like looking away, like they're listening, but not really. They're thinking like, well, okay, I have to talk to that person. Who's more interesting? Wait, who's more fun? Where's the value? Where can I find something more interesting? It's sort of this condescending vibe to that person. No matter who you're talking to, could be like a homeless person, someone at your work, maybe some guy who's a bit lower status, or a girl who's a bit lower status, not that hot, not that pretty, or a guy who's a bit of a loser. In your book, right, which is obviously subjective, you still have to look at them with respect, like a confident person would. Another sign is sort of the way when they speak to you. Also, you can see the sort of condescension in their voice, condescension in their face. Instead of like this bright, confident smile that healthy self-esteem people would show, the people who are more arrogant, what they're going to do is it's more like of a smirk in the side of their face that's like, haha, gotcha type of smirk, or like, haha, I'm so much better than you type of smirk. Usually when they're smiling, like their eyes are not really going to change. Their eyes going to kind of stay static, or even like sort of frowny sometimes. And then just like this little on the side of their mouth, they're going to have like a little like smirky look on their face. If you find people like that in your life, you want to steer away from them. In people who are arrogant, they're definitely more in this spectrum of narcissism. So now we know how it kind of looks like in a conversation, in interactions with other people, but how does it actually feel like? Like in your body, how does that feel like? Confidence, it feels very good, and it feels secure. Right? When you're confident, you're secure in your ability, you're secure in admitting your mistakes, your flaws. It's not with a lot of shame, a lot of guilt that you admit those mistakes. It's with understanding and self-compassion and self-love. When you admit your mistakes, you're like, yeah, I made that mistake. I could be better there, but I still love myself for it. When you become arrogant, what happens is that you can't admit your mistakes. When other people, they point out your mistakes, you're like, nah, man, it was your fault, or whatever. Nah, man, it was like that person's fault. No, I would never make that mistake. What are you talking about? No? An inability to see your own flaws, that's arrogant as well. And sort of project, a lot of arrogant people, because of that superiority complex, they're going to project those mistakes, project those flaws onto other people, right? So I had a friend of mine that's no longer my friend that used to do that. He'd have like certain things in himself, he would project that onto me. So he'd tell me, dude, you're a narcissistic fuck, you don't care about other people. It was strange because this thing he said about me was exactly his flaw about himself that he would never admit. Yeah, I try to take feedback from other people. So what I did is I asked my other friends, like, hey, this person told me that I'm narcissistic. Am I that type of person, right? And I'd ask at least 3 to 5 people, so I have like a higher sample size to make sure that, hey, I want to make sure that I'm not kidding myself, that I'm not crazy. And they told me all, no, dude, you're not narcissistic. No, dude, you're not an asshole. No, dude, you're not arrogant, dude. It's just, I don't know what he's saying. Like, he's saying bullshit. And I'm like, thank you. I wasn't sure. I thought I was crazy, that I was like this type of person, but I'm not. That's what arrogant people do. It's they like to project flaws and mistakes onto others because they will not accept those flaws and mistakes in themselves. So how do you become more confident? How do you switch from arrogance to confidence? Well, I think it comes with the number one thing, which I would say is humility. Humility, seeing yourself rationally where you are at right now, right? Not aggrandizing yourself, not blowing yourself up a proportion, but realistically looking at, this is where I'm at right now. This is what I'm aspiring to, and those are the steps to get there. The arrogant person is like, yeah, whatever, I'm already there, and they sort of blow it out of proportion in a sort of better than others type of way. So be realistic. Also practice self-love on yourself. And a great way to do that is to actively seek out criticism, actively seek out feedback from others. All right, ask your friends, hey, honestly, I did this project right here, but I want you to be like 100% honest with me. Tell me exactly what you think of it. Is it shit? If it's shit, tell me right now. If it's amazing, tell me it's amazing right now. What's one thing about myself that I could improve as a person, as a relationship partner, as a coworker? What's the one thing I can improve? And ask people around you like that. This is what I do just to make sure that all my friendships and relationships are very based on honesty and truth and vulnerability. Once you get that, then truly you can start building confidence, like real confidence that comes from the core. Also admit your mistakes. Look at your mistakes, admit them to other people and ask them, how do you think I could better myself? Admit that to yourself as well. How can I work on those mistakes? How can I work on those flaws of mine? Right? And how can I capitalize on my strengths? Also, take more responsibility. Very simple. A lot of arrogant people, they just don't want to take responsibility for their lives. They give responsibility to other things outside their control. And of course, by putting responsibility on other things, it kind of makes them perpetuate that illusory superiority mindset, because they're just out of the responsibility. Whatever they put into that box of themselves, it's untouched by the external circumstance, right? But when you become confident, it's like you enlarge your circle of control, you enlarge your circle of responsibility when you're truly confident, right? Arrogance is sort of a closing off of like, this is me, this is who I am, and fuck everyone who says otherwise. That's arrogance. Confidence is, this is me, this is who I am, but I'm welcome to feedback. I'm welcome to what the external world wants to help me with. The universe is with me. The world is with me, helping me. Right? There's a huge difference. So this shift in paradigm of opening up, right? Opening up instead of closing down. If you're closing down, you feel like you're closed down, this is not true confidence. This is not gonna last. This is gonna shield you away from other people, and people are just not want to be your friend, So then my friend from earlier that I told you, he was a nice guy and he became arrogant. That was him being a nice guy. He was a bit more open like this, like opening to other people. And then when he became arrogant, he closed off. And obviously he started losing friends. He lost me, he lost another one of his friends. He even told me before I lost him, if you're in that phase right now, maybe you're closed off. And you maybe lost a friend or two because they thought you were an asshole or something like that. Then it's time for you to open up a little bit and start welcoming humility into your life, right? The external world, welcome it. Make love to it. Let's say you're the nicest person on earth. Maybe you watch this video the entire time, you're like, well, I don't do any of those things, but I still feel like an asshole. Then you're not an asshole. If you're thinking that, and you still feel you're an asshole, you're just way too much of a people pleaser. That's what I think. And I'm sure some of you guys that are like people pleasers think you're an asshole, and you watch that video. Actually, what you gotta do is not to stop being an asshole, is to actually, you gotta swing the pendulum. Let's just say, okay, there's like nice person, there's like extreme jerk, and somewhere in the middle you have confidence. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna swing the pendulum as far as you can, almost, okay, without like killing people, okay, closer to being a jerk, an asshole, just so you can see what you can get away with. See how your reality shifts, and you'll be surprised. If you're a people pleaser and you're like, oh yeah, I'll do this for you, yeah, I'll be nice, and then people accept you for that, and then you swing the pendulum, you're like, you know what, no, I'm not gonna do that. Hey, can you do that thing for me? Can you buy me a smoothie? No. And you swing the pendulum, you're like a bit more direct with people, and people be like, oh shit. And you would think you'd actually lose friends from doing that, but it's the opposite. People start respecting you more. They start respecting your boundaries more. This is very paradoxical. Very, very paradoxical. But I want you to try that if you're too much of a nice person. So it's okay at first. If you're a bit arrogant, okay, it's okay. Like if you're way too nice, just try being a jerk just for like 1 to 2 days, 1 to 2 to 3 days, and whatever you think is a jerk is actually you being like right in the middle. Okay, and it's sort of like trial and error, seeing what can I do, what can I say, how much assertion is too much, how much directness is too much, right? So practices for you to develop real confidence is start asserting yourself a bit more, right? Assert yourself a bit more, let's say at work. If you disagree with your boss or something at a meeting, don't be afraid to be like, hey, you know what? Like, this is a great idea, but I think XYZ. This is like artful assertion. That's not stomping on people, but it's just being artful and mindful about it. Also, artful confrontation. When people get like on your nerves, when people like, they make it harder for you. Whatever they want to do, right? They want to sabotage you, whatever, you confront them, right? That's a really confident person will do that. An arrogant person is just going to fight with them, be passive aggressive to them, be rude to them. That's an arrogant person, what they would do. A confident person would go up to them and be like, hey, listen, you know, I know we've been friends for a while, we've been coworkers for a while, and there's something about our relationship that I just want to bring to the forefront is when you did XYZ thing on Sunday, to me it felt like you were trying to sabotage me, or you're trying to, like, you were pissed off at me or something like that, and I just want to know, like, what was up. And I mean, if I did anything to anger you, like, just let me know, because I just want to make sure that we, you know, I want to be really honest with you, you know. And so from that, you know, I've made that deal to be honest with everyone, and I just felt that from you, and I just want to make things clear. See, the way I brought that to the forefront wasn't with like, yo, dude, like, you fucking did that on Sunday and I was so pissed off. This is not the right way to confront someone. So you do that with sort of empathy, you bring it smoothly but truthfully, right? Without steering away from the fact, without trying to divert your attention. It's like, no, you bring your attention to it, right? And start speaking up a bit more. Start, you know, put yourself out there. Start exhibiting your leadership qualities, you know. So are you a confident person, or are you an arrogant person? Or if you know someone in your life who's arrogant rather than confident, let me know in the comments below. I want to know. Don't forget to click on the bell, subscribe, because self-development is not one thing that you do one day. It is a recurring habit, recurring act that you do for the rest of your life, every day of your life. Don't forget to check out my life purpose book. I'm going to put a link right there, you know, if you want to learn how to get your life purpose. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.